I'd like to call to order the Monday, November 22nd meeting of the Board of Directors for the St. Joseph County Public Library. I have, in looking around the room, I see that we have a quorum. So let me go around the room and ask each member if they have their agenda. I mean, if they have their materials and they are present. So we will start with, I didn't write down the name. Sally.
Present, and I have everything.
Terry.
Present with material.
Alan.
I'm present and I've received the material.
Marvin.
President.
Ann.
Present, and I have received the materials.
And I am also present and have received the materials. Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of the library board minutes of the meeting held on October 25th, 2021. May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Again, I will do a call. Oh, any discussion? Any corrections? Hearing none. Let me roll. Sally.
Aye.
Terry.
Aye.
Alan.
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
And I also. Next we'll go to the director.
Thank you. We're just coming off nearly 2 weeks of opening events from Main Library. We started with a preview party on Monday, November 8th, where a couple of hundred people enjoyed hors d'oeuvres and drinks and tours. And then on Wednesday, the 10th, we hosted the Chamber and the Young Professionals Network for breakfast. That same day, we had Rotary for lunch, and then Friday was Media Day, and tours were happening all week. And then finally, we opened Main on Sunday, the 14th from 11 to 5 and held the ribbon cutting on Monday. We finished up with Explore a Story this past Saturday, where Roz Puppets and Jim Gill, they were standards for us and always a hit, entertain kids along with our own library staff. So nearly 6,000 people walked through the doors last week. I think that's pretty good. And our employees were just thrilled to greet them. Everybody's kind of coming off of a high right now around Maine. Also, 339 people attended a story time at Maine last week. So we had kids all over the place all week. This week, I'm kind of hoping that people get a chance to catch their breath a little bit. But if you walked in and looked around, you'll notice that we're very busy right now even. So it's good. It's all good. And it feels really good to be back. I think there is a lot of surprise and delight and just joy on people's faces when they came in, and it's been really fun to watch how people are using the spaces. One example is that we have 2 study rooms on this floor that are kind of like fish bowls. They have windows on all sides. We thought nobody would ever use them, and it seems like every time I make a swing through the building, somebody is in one of those rooms, and we thought no one would sit there. Our local and family history space has been discovered. At our grand opening on Sunday, the yearbooks were a huge hit. I can't imagine how long it took them to put them away, but everybody, we had groups of people coming up saying, I heard you had yearbooks. So the word spread somehow on opening day. And I just got a report from Carter Lubelski, who's our teen librarian, who says that the teens have been finding and really using the space. He says, you know, rather than gaming, a lot of them are using the space to do homework or just hang out with friends. And parents are really happy that there's a place for them. They can kind of come in, they leave them in the teen space and then can come back and pick them up when they're ready to go. Interestingly, I think the one place where it's been a little slow is computers. I think our computer users are not finding us. They're a little slow to come back, but it's gradually stepping up, I've noticed during the week. So for now, everything is open at Main and Studio 304. Studio 304 is a little bit hard to find because you have to go out through the doors, but it's open. And the Learning Center is still undergoing some final touches. I hope you get a chance to check out the courtyard today. They're making a lot of progress with that. The pergola looks good. The screening is now in place. So today when I kind of looked out at noon and you can kind of see the patterns on the sidewalk where we hoped they would be. And it's coming right along. I was also in this morning before daylight, and the pergola is beautifully, the courtyard is beautifully lit. There are lights on the pergola posts. The tall lights are there. It just really looks good. So we plan to formally open the Learning Center in January, although we still know there are going to be some things that have to be worked out. Most of the courtyard plantings are going to go in spring. We decided a week or so ago that it was just too late to do perennials. They're too tender. And even some of the trees will do better if they're planted in the spring. So the courtyards, we're going to mulch the courtyard and then just kind of let it go. But the bones are there and you can see that how it's going to look. I want to thank you for all your support on this project. You know, we're not done, but it's just been great. It's been great to see you at the events, and we could not have gotten here without you as a board. So thank you. It's just these last 2 weeks after I think 4 years of this have been a delight. It's nice to be doing something that's really fun again. And I mentioned at one of the remarks that it feels like we've re-entered the world again, and it really does. So thank you.
I wanted to make one mention. As I was coming in, I saw a group of teenagers leaving and I thought, that's unique.
Yes.
A few years ago, you didn't see that many teens, and there were groups of teens leaving the area.
We also have a really diverse base right now, and that's good to see too, that people are finding us from all walks of life.
Any questions for Deb?
Just a comment how the children's room is so incredible. And one of the things that I noticed that just did my heart good was you had children playing with children and parents.
Yes.
I mean, they were all in there playing together. And I thought, oh, that's wonderful.
It's really been good to see that all of the things we dreamed about, all of the things we thought about actually work.
Yeah.
You know, and I know we'll be tweaking for the next year or so. We may come back to you.
Can they turn this off?
Pardon me?
Not able to hear back here.
You
at all.
can't hear.
Heater
Oh.
going.
The heater, and it's just hard for us to hear.
Can somebody text facilities and see if we can get? Trish is doing it.
It's already on low.
I think that facilities is going to have to do it from their control panel. Can you hear it all?
We could hear your report. I could not hear.
I couldn't
Ann.
hear
Couldn't
Ann
hear
at all.
Ann.
You
Okay.
have to project.
Oh, I commented how in the children's room, the children are playing in those play spaces with the parents. And all of the
Beautiful.
talk and conversation that's going on between them is just wonderful to see.
And I really love the Maritza Mercado.
Thank you.
I was overwhelmed almost with the little kids during the open house. I mean, they just come in and it's like they already have a map or something. They seem to know where to go.
They're not
And
afraid to try
No,
things.
and I'm sure I've said it many times before, but anytime I see a kid with a book, I have hope.
I came in on Monday morning after the opening and I just had to laugh when I got to the third floor because there's no kid space on the third floor, right? But we have the glassed windows and all along the glassed windows, you could see handprints where they've been. And I thought, all right, they found it.
Great.
Well, thank you. And we'll all use our outside voices. So you can hear us over the air. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the director's report.
Second?
Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll call the roll. Sally?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Marvin? Ann?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you. Library bill list for for the month.
Okay, so this month's bill list totals $2,294,664.28. 46% of that, or $1,077,582, was for construction and furnishings. So you can see that we are still continuing to pay those bills and starting to wind down as the project winds down. Are there any questions on any of the other payments that we made?
Any questions? Hearing none, would someone like to motion to approve the bill list? No questions. I will do a call. Sally?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Ann, and I also approve. With that, we'll go on to our gift. Our gift is $1 million from the Community Foundation. As I understand, is that their last contribution to the building fund? Yeah.
Take my glasses off too. Yes, that's the last contribution and we,
Right, these microphones are really working for the people that are remoting in, so, but they're not doing anything for this room particularly, so.
So yes, the $1 million is the last contribution.
There's only a low and a high button.
We look for this. Well, I wonder
There's
if
an
those
off button.
thermostats are at. I don't know.
I can hear you all right, but it,
It's
Yeah.
the last, that's the last of their $10 million.
That's the
Okay.
last of their contribution here. You're really starting to pay out that fund now because that was primarily for the learning center, and that is what we're finishing up on mostly.
I think that Deb told me that they are also doing some other payouts.
There are some reimbursements that they're doing for us that were not the initial contribution, and they will reimburse those for us. For some other areas, they will send us
Thank you.
Second that.
All right. Any other questions? The roll, Sally,
hi.
Terry.
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Marvin.
Aye.
Aye. And I also approve. Thank you very much. Personnel changes.
You're seeing a lot of lateral transfers on this list. That's a result of transferring people back to main library for opening. So when we closed, we distributed them all over the system, and these are folks that are coming back, and also some of them who had, well, the laterals aren't promotions, but we kind of switched up the staff too. So some people who had worked at branches applied to work at Maine, and we brought them to Maine. So our staff has seen a lot of changes in the last year.
Anybody want to?
That got better. Yeah, he
It
must
just
have
got
gotten the message.
Any staff you want to highlight? Your new events person,
Um,
that the day of.
yes, is Denise on there? Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
was thinking, these are mostly laterals, I
Okay.
think.
All right.
There are a couple new hires, but mostly laterals.
Okay. Good. With that, are there any questions? I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Hearing no questions, I will call the roll. Sally,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
and I also approve. Thank you. There were no special library board committee meetings, and so there are no reports from library board committee meetings. To my knowledge, there's no unfinished business, so we will move into new business. We'll start with the change orders for the main library project. Will Glenn be talking about this?
Yes, I will. No Antonia today. You get to deal with me.
Nice to see you, Glenn. Would you like to go through the list of?
Yeah.
changes?
I can absolutely do that. So bear with me. Antonia put this together, so I'm just going to be running through it. Hopefully I can answer any questions. So the first is EJ White. EJ White was a total of $1,685. It was for some minor changes to the plumbing modifications. With Fagley had some overtime for $5,026, as well as site concrete repairs, excuse me, that were directed to do work out there as well for $4,997. Their total change orders for $10,023. Goff is the next individual. Goff was utilizing an allowance for some directed drywall modifications in 2 occasions. So those are going to be a $0 change. But then you have owner allocated overtime for $521 for a total of $521 for Goff. Herman and Getz had owner approved overtime of $5,214. They also had a allowance use of electrical modifications, and that was a total of $5,547 for a total of $10,761 for Herman and Getz. Indiana Earth had a couple changes here, about 3 or 4. These are some older ones that we're sitting on until we got some resolution on some changes. So you're going to hear unforeseen foundations and footings that we ran into from some old buildings out there. That's an $804 change order for them. There's also an RFI for $345 for some courtyard entries and stoops that had to be added or actually removed because there was some overlap. It's a credit of $1,475. We had some water distribution flushing for $3,520. And then we also had some overtime for them for $484. That's a total of $3,333 for Indiana Earth. We have interior finishes, had 3 small ones. One was some floor patching that they had to do, which was $393. There was B&A directed tile revisions for $4,218. And then there was some overtime for them as well, $8,063.48. The total for interior finishes is $12,674.48. Got a couple more here. So Larson Danielson, broken up into 2 different areas because there's a general trades package as well as another. So you have additional access panels, which was $9,319. You have scaffolding for the approved alternates was $3,465. That is a total of $12,784 for Larson Danielson. The next Larson Danielson, the first was general trades. This one actually is for millwork. On the millwork, they have a overtime line for $4,051. The next is directed general trades and millwork changes of $1,389. Heat pump benches for $500. And there's some auditorium stair nosing for $7,381. This change is for $13,321. Midland Engineering had overtime, T&M work related some roof patching of existing. It is a total of $2,067. Oosterbaan is the next. Oosterbaan had some overtime allowance of $425. And then using the internal allowance of painting touch-up, which is $21,137. Their total value for that change is $21,562. I believe the last one here is Shambaugh. Shambaugh had some tile revisions, so it's actually a credit of $1,351. I believe the total for all of the changes is $87,380.48.
Okay, on my list. I don't have the total. Would you give me the total again?
It's a 100,000.
$100,044.
So one more time, Christine.
Total that we have is $100,044.48.
It may just be a misadd on our sheet, Glenn. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I'm
I didn't
just doing a
double
quick.
check it.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just doing a quick check right now of the cell.
While you're checking, I wanted to tell you all as well that this is overtime for October. There'll be some overtime in November up until opening day, and we're done with overtime now. They're on straight time again. But you'll see a little bit on the December bill list.
Yeah, so Deb, I'm checking real quick and I'm still coming up with 87,380.48, but let me.
Yeah, I'm just rounding, and I think that's what I'm seeing too.
$87,380.48.
Yes. Just checking more cells real quick. That's adding up. That's adding up. That adds up. 15, that adds up. Yeah, I am still showing 87,380.48. So we'll have to take a look at that. Because
Thank you. And I will quickly run through the changes. EJ White has an increase $1,685. Bakery, $10,023. Rock, $521. Yes, $10,761. Indiana Earth, $3,333. Interior finishes, $12,674.48. Larson Danielson first change is $12,784. Second change for Larson Danielson for millwork is $13,321. Next is Mechanical Concepts for $12,664. Midland Engineering, $2,067. Oosterbaan and Sons, $21,562. We have one credit from Shambaugh and Son of $1,351, making the total change orders come to $87,380.48.
Christine, it looks like maybe the
MCI?
mechanical concepts. Yeah.
Yes,
mechanical
yeah, I agree.
concepts.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Was added twice?
No, I don't think Glenn has it on his list. And I
Right, that is correct. Yeah, I
Yep.
came up with the same thing, Deb.
And that's it.
So it comes to $103,044.
You are correct. Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
I apologize for that.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve?
So
Okay. Any questions? So with corrections, we are good. I will call the roll. Sally? Aye. Terry?
Aye.
Ellen?
uh,
Marvin?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you. Moving to 9B, Declaration of Petty Cash and Change Funds.
So every year, we do ask you to approve petty cash and the change funds. And that usually happens in January. So this year we decided to go ahead and do it in order to get mains in there. We upped some of the cash drawers based on increased traffic that we felt would occur and added a few. For example, we added the St. Joe Cafe at Maine for $200, although that's not open yet. We're trying to anticipate that as well. And we did, as far as the photocopiers, the new amount with kind of the odd amount is we have new coin ops on there, and that is the max that it held. So on those machines, so that's why we put the $27.60. That's where we came up with that odd amount. So we're asking to go ahead and approve what we have already distributed those because of opening, but asking you to retroactively approve those amounts.
I move that we reestablish the change funds and petty cash amounts set forth under tab 9B of our packet.
Second.
Any questions for Kelly? Hearing none, I will go through the roll. Sally? Aye. Terry?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you very much. Public service policy changes. Yes.
This is the full policy that you saw last month. And last month you approved everything except the amount of the fee for guest cards. And Jim is going to talk about that. Right?
Well, I looked at the library statutes, library regulations, and come to the conclusion that apparently it doesn't matter what the regulations or the statute says as long as the state library board approves it. So based on that, my opinion, you could charge a $50 guest fee under reciprocal borrowing agreements. Not specified in the statute. In fact, it's contrary to the terms of the statute. Not specified in the regulations. But it appears that there's an intent when they created a reciprocal borrowing agreement authorization that it was to be an alternative to the public library access charge, for which there must be a fee. And the intention being that if two library districts, which are both charging their residents taxes to use the library, if they enter into a reciprocal agreement, the idea is that the persons from the other district can use the library services without having to pay the equivalent of the per capita rate for that library district. What it doesn't, what the statute and the regulations don't address directly is whether the reciprocal borrowing agreement can include a fee for the non-residents. But the reciprocal borrowing agreements all seem to say that it's subject to the rules and regulations established by the various library districts. So my conclusion is that if you amend your reciprocal borrowing agreement to require that persons from out of the district pay a guest fee, and the state library board says, yeah, why not? Then there you are. It's approved.
Jim, do we even, because reciprocal borrowing agreements are so vague, does it even need to be in the agreement? You and I talked about that on the phone. You weren't even sure it needed to be,
It has to be in your policy.
had to be in the policy, but not the agreement.
So I misspoke. It has to be in your policy. Because the reciprocal borrowing agreements say that the borrowing privileges afforded to the out-of-district residents under those agreements are subject to the rules and regulations of the library district. So if you amend your policies or your rules to require the non-resident under a reciprocal agreement to pay a guest fee, appears to be sanctioned.
Okay, then let me ask, what comes first, chicken or the egg? Do we have to change the policy first, or do we impose the fees first?
Well, I think you change your policy to impose the fee, and then you notify the participants under the reciprocal borrowing agreements that here's the change in our rules.
So my question is, I seem to hear, I think last month, that this change with respect to the $50 reciprocal borrowing agreement fee was going to be effective sometime middle part of next year. But I don't see that in any material.
What we want to, good question. What we want to be able to do is make it effective January 1st so that new people coming in will be charged the fee. The people who currently have a reciprocal borrowing card with us, as those cards expire, then they'd be subject to the fee. We don't want to make everybody's card expire all at the same time. So this would be a gradual.
With everybody that's got a reciprocal borrowing agreement card right now, that's an annual thing?
It will be an annual. It will be an annual because there's a fee attached to it.
But like, for example, so I've got a reciprocal borrowing card in Mishawaka, and I've never renewed it or anything like that. It's just I've had it for several years. So, but so I guess my question is, does the St. Joseph County Public Library reciprocal borrowing agreement expire like 12 months or 24 months after people? So people that have got them now, the people that have had them for 3 or 4 years, do they keep? And would that be, well, what, I guess what date will it be? So everybody that's got one now, is that going to be, it'll renew a year from now? In June. June, okay, so that's not going to be a year, you're just.
That's just the practice.
Sarah, can you mic yourself? The virtual people can't hear you.
That's practicing.
Yeah,
Well, do we need to approve that?
As long as you approve the fee, I think the the practice of having those cards expire is procedure. It's how you get to the.
And
fee.
that's something that staff can do without having. the board
Yes.
approve. Okay.
Yes,
all
that's,
right.
that's the procedure that we'll follow
And
to
that's what
make
the
that
staff
happen.
intends to do.
Yeah.
Is as of anybody, as of January 1, they'll have to pay $50 if they're getting a new one.
If they're getting a new one.
But they'll also get some notice in January that says
Yes.
your current card expired June 1st. And if you renew it after that, it's $50.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Exactly.
Makes sense to me.
So the motion that we're looking for right now is to accept the $50 fee for guests.
Correct.
Do I hear a motion to that?
So moved.
I hear a motion,
Second.
second. Any further questions? Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is a sensible question or not, but given the ambiguity that you spoke about, what's the possibility of there being some kind of legal challenges? Would anybody do that? I mean, look at it and say, hey, wait, you're not supposed to be putting this fee in place? Or is that irrelevant?
Well, I don't think in terms of it being a legal issue, I think it does need clarification from the state library board. And you may get it as a result of doing this. Because either everybody else is going to say, everybody else is a net lender, like we are, is going to say, yeah, that's a great idea. And people who have been taking advantage of the situation and being able to borrow a lot more from our district at a lower tax rate in their own district are going to say, what a bad idea that is. So who knows? At some point, the state library board may step in and clarify one way or the other. And because I honestly couldn't figure out why it's not addressed,
Right.
why it's not clarified either under the statute or the regulation. But when you read the statutes, it seems to me that it was evident that the idea of having a reciprocal borrowing was to allow library districts to free to exchange material between their residents without having to charge the public library access fee. Okay. Well, that's a great idea, except the public library access system allows a library system like ours, am I using the right term, net lender,
You are.
to get some reimbursement from the state program. Whereas under these reciprocal borrowing agreements, the library system, this library system does not get any reimbursement. And so we're lending library material to residents who are taxpayers in library districts where the tax is not as high. The per capita charge is not as high. And so they're getting the advantage that those people in the other districts are getting an advantage, and our taxpayers are subsidizing it. Okay, so it seems to me that it's an issue that needs to be addressed that wasn't thought of when they came up with this idea of the reciprocal borrowing agreements. And as I said, I don't see anything that would prohibit our library from setting rules as to what we want to charge. And the reciprocal borrowing agreements say it's subject to whatever our rules are. Now, somebody smarter than I may come along and decide that's not a great idea. Or somebody may say, boy, what a great idea. We'll see.
So are we the first then in? this-
I think we're the first to do this,
In
and
Indiana.
I can't help but think there'll be some pushback.
Yeah.
For small libraries, if we, for example, we reciprocate with Walkerton. Well, Walkerton doesn't impact us in any way, shape, or form, really. Mishawaka, on the other hand, Mishawaka patrons are borrowing 20% of our materials. That does impact us. And so it's been an issue for as long as I've been in libraries, one way or the other, reciprocation. And whether we know that it benefits small libraries, it hurts larger libraries. I think larger libraries are fine with doing it when it doesn't impact their services. But I think it's gotten to the point where we think it really is impacting our service. You know, if we're subsidizing 20% of our materials budget is going to subsidize Mishawaka folks, then there's an impact. So Do I think this is going to be popular? No, but our hope is that we can explain it and that people will not like it, but at least understand it. And we'll see, you know, it's new. It's,
What is the alternative? The alternative is to pull out of the reciprocal bargaining.
yes,
agreement
and charge them.
And make anybody from any of those other districts that they want to borrow from St. Joseph County Public Library, obtain a public library access card, which they have to pay the per capita charge that our taxpayers pay.
Don never liked reciprocal agreements until he suddenly decided to do one, but he never liked them because he understood, you know, what it really does.
Okay, so if you want to pay $50, or you want to pay, I think it's $75.
65 right now.
Is it 65?
65 for a
I think you
plaque,
pay
yeah.
Plus 10.
Yeah.
It's a minimum, is a $65 per capita charge. You know, the standard per capita charge, it's the total assessed valuation of the county divided by or excuse me, in the district, divided by the residents in the district. So it comes out to it's taxpayers of our library district pay $65 and some cents per person to fund the library.
Actually, you were right about per capita. Per capita is 75. That's a fee card. You have 3 tiers of guest cards. There's fee card, which is the per capita cost. We sell those to Michigan people or Madison Township. You have the public library access card, which if you have a card from anywhere else in the state, you can get a plaque and it allows you to borrow. And then there's going to be our guest card, which is 50, which is lower than both of the other tiers for those libraries we reciprocate with.
Deb, do you intend, like pre-January to let people know?
Yes.
Give them some kind of a small explanation
Yes.
along with the notice?
We'll have a campaign that actually goes out. And for those people who currently hold a reciprocal card that will expire during the year, we intend to sort of ping them multiple times.
Yeah.
They won't, you know, we'll probably have some actually really vocal people because we do, but.
Yeah.
That'll be, I think,
Yeah.
and that affects everybody.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah.
But the first thing you'll see, like, will be a story on whole, and it's really focused on like free. We'll get the message out to us, especially.
Going fine free is going to be a big deal. And it's what we hope will bring people back to the library and get people using cards again who either have been afraid about fines or have owed us money or whatever. It's a way to bring people back in. Anecdotally from other libraries, they've seen big swings up in circulation. They've seen people come back. There's just a lot of gratitude. And so that's where we start. And then we say, well, you're still going to be fine free if you miss Mishawaka, but we're also going to assess this guest fee for you.
There's going to be a letter that.
We'll do multiple things. Yeah.
To your counterpart.
Oh, I'm going to meet with Donna. Well,
And the other one.
I'll meet with, yeah.
But we probably ought to also do it, right? I mean, you ought to meet with her, tell her what's going on, but. we
Yeah.
ought- I mean, I would think, Jim, that we need to give them an actual written, since basically we're changing the policy and it's been that way.
They could just see what we.
Well, we're changing our policies, we're not really changing the reciprocal agreement, but they should know how the change in our policy will affect the reciprocal agreement.
Mhm.
Any more questions or comments? Have a motion and a second. I will call for the roll. Sally?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
And
Aye.
I also approve. It's-
Thank you.
Next, board acceptance of grant awards. Lisa, would you like to address them?
You need a mic, Lisa. Are we doing it all for Trish?
The Institute of Museum and Library
Hey, but you're
Services.
talking over to us.
Oh, talk
You
over,
will
Just ignore that.
listen.
but
Ignore it.
switch it. Okay. So the Institute of Museum and Library Services recently awarded us with an American Rescue Plan Act grant in the amount of $22,600. And the grant supports the project, the Self-Healing Communities Model, building capacity and recovering from COVID-19 at the public library. And the project is in partnership with United Way to address trauma and mental health in our community. We plan to train our staff to engage with the Self-Healing Communities Model, as well as the Adverse Childhood Experiences or ACEs model, and to create new public programming addressing mental and physical health. This programming will support community members as they recover from the collective trauma of the COVID-19 pandemic and build their resiliency. The library also will engage in a project evaluation to create a framework for integrating this work into future programming strategies and expanding it to other organizational areas. And then we also received an E-rate emergency fund grant. So the Federal Communications Commission awarded us with an E-rate emergency fund grant in the amount of $138,774.90. The funding is in support of the purchase of 200 laptops and hotspots, along with data plans to loan to our patrons in partnership with local community organizations that serve low-income residents. We have worked with some of these organizations in the past to offer access to computers as well as digital literacy courses. One such organization is Real Services, which provides basic needs to thousands of older adults in the area. In a recent survey, they found that 64% of those they serve do not have access to a computer or laptop. Besides older adults, will target residents with disabilities who also likely have reduced access to basic resources. Thank you.
I have a motion to approve acceptance of these two grants.
So moved.
Are there any questions? Lisa?
Got a quick one. I'm wondering about the timing or, what your timeline is for the programming around mental health needs with the IMLS grant. So important.
Yeah, we're gonna do the, and then, the programmers plan, right? And the programs happen.
For those of us on our Zoom audience, the question was asked about timing, and Lisa
Is
said.
Trish the only one on Zoom, by the way? I mean, Trish, if you'd come here, we could like turn the thing off,
I need it for recording for minutes.
There you
Okay. Getting back to my answer. The training will begin this winter and the program will be implemented in spring, but thank you.
Can you explain a little bit what Healing Communities is? I'm understanding that the actual program that you're going to be doing will be developed ongoing, but what is Self-Healing Communities? And maybe you've talked about this before and I missed it, but.
The United Way, they're training organizations and their staff on trauma and basically explaining how people and their behaviors. The ACEs model is all part of that. That's and you might know about that. It's like a scoring system for how much trauma you experience in childhood, and that's a predictor of mental health issues, addiction, a lot of poor health outcomes in a lot of respects in your life. So the self-healing communities model is just educating through organizations on trauma and its impacts. And so with that knowledge, we're able to be better informed on the programs that we offer to our students.
Thank you. For those of you who aren't in the mental health field, the ACEs or Adverse Childhood Experience, as Lisa said, is sort of a scorecard. Say, before 21, did you experience these events? And if you come up with a certain score, it sort of is not causal, but a predictor of health, well-being, mental health, behavior. The trauma-informed care is sort of how to build resilience in people who have experiencing these adverse childhood experiences. And many of the organizations in town have taken this under their wing. And I know that Oakland and others and hospitals all are part of this, so we'll be part of a much larger community. Any other questions?
I wanted to mention too that the Broadband Grant is a really important grant to get access to seniors and low-income residents. I was in a meeting with MACOG this morning, and there's a new report coming out about the lack of access and high-speed internet in the 4-county area that MACOG serves, and seniors are a really underserved part of that. So I'm really happy that we're going to do this one too.
Other questions, comments? We have a motion and a second, so I will call for the roll. Sally?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
I also approve. Okay. The next is 9E, resolution to establish an American Rescue Plan Act grant fund.
No, this is the same grant, but because this is a federal fund, you actually have to pass a formal resolution to establish this as a fund. And it has to be a separate board item. So it's a formality, but you have to do it as a resolution, and then we'll have you sign it.
So this is related to the E-rate emergency,
No, this is related to the other one you just,
or the IML.
yeah, the MLS grant. Yeah, that's a federal grant.
So I move that we adopt the resolution contained on page 121 of our board packet to establish an ARP grant fund for the purpose of receiving money from the American Rescue Plan and use the funds in accordance with the purposes of helping communities respond to the pandemic, as well as to address related economic and community needs through equitable approaches.
Any further questions? Hearing none. Sally?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Aye.
Also approved. Thank you. Next is the library board resolution to declare excess furnishings and equipment. About
Trish is going to talk about that since she counted all of it.
Yes, I'm dreaming of old furniture these days. We have a lot of equipment and furniture that we don't need after we built the building. We got a lot of new furniture, even though we did use some existing in the new building. So I have a list in here for you to consider to declare it excess, and then we will be selling them at 2 different sales, one December 3rd and one December 11th.
do I hear a motion to accept?
I have a question first, please.
Yes, sir.
Is this an auction or a tag sale, or are you just pricing the items? How does it work?
Kelly could probably answer that. She has, I think she's going to figure out the pricing, right, Kelly?
Yes, we're going to use a formula to price things based on what would be considered kind of market value of those restrictions, since we're not having it as an auction. And then we'll bring that back to you when we have the proceeds.
Okay, thank you.
It is more or less a tag sale though, Terry.
Yep.
Now I'll take the motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none. Sally?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ellen?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Aye.
And I also approve. Thank you. Next, G, library board resolution to declare excess withdrawn library materials.
I move on that, Christine. We, this withdrawals.
Second.
Second.
Two of them. Okay, then, any questions, comments? Hearing none. Sally?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Ellen?
Aye.
Marvin?
Aye.
Anne?
Aye.
I also approve. Was there any other business before the board? Hearing none, we'll move to hearing of visitors. Do we have any visitors? There are no visitors, so the members of the public would have been invited to address the library board. The next item is news and educational items. Anything for Deb?
I think the news is all about Main Library, and I gave you that a little earlier, so that's all we've been thinking about.
Thank you. Well, our next library board meeting will be a closed session that will follow this immediate board meeting. The next month's meeting is Monday, December 20th at 4:15 in this room, I do believe.
In this room.
Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Sally,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Marvin,
Aye.
Anne,
Aye.
and I also approve. With that, the meeting is adjourned.